a laugh. Dozed off earlier on, woke up, went on to Facebook on this laptop, and I thought I would click the home page to get the usual you get every Christmas Day about this time from the pensioners on Facebook. Instead, I bumped into someone's post. They posted a big square meme, and at the risk of sounding like a Zionist, they are anti-Semitic. Obviously not against Zionists or Israel, but against authentic Jewish people, the real Jewish people. Yes, apparently it's got a difference between what Islam, Roman Catholicism, and Judaism thinks about Jesus. I know what they were trying to do, of course. Whatever arsewipe that doesn't have a fucking clue about history, I know exactly what they were trying to do. They were basically trying to slag off Israel, weren't they? Which, that's entirely up to them. But they shouldn't do it at the expense of the authentic Jewish people, the real Jewish people. And that's what some silly bastard did. So basically, one of the things that states on it is, there is it. Yeah, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Judaism, everybody thinks Jesus ascended into heaven. Jesus did not ascend into heaven. Well, that's neither here nor there for Judaism anyway. This is a load of crap. There's a woman here. In fact, it's a man. I don't know. It could be a woman. Alex Simeon on Facebook that wrote the Star of David is not biblical. It was created by a European Jew named Theodore Herzl. And then there's more than one mistake she made there. She is ignorant. Named Theodore Herzl, who was an atheist. And who also created Zionism. He didn't create Zionism, actually. This person, this woman, is the most dumbest person I've seen in a long time. And people down below there are laughing at it. They think one of them put a love heart on and one put a thumbs up on. 6 points, 6 triangles, and 6 hexagons. Doesn't have 6 hexagons, don't talk rubbish. And then she wrote 666, a satanic symbol of the Kabbalah, a satanic offshoot of Judaism. And she's anti-Semitic to the authentic Jewish people, not to the Israelis. Forget the Israelis, put them to one side. They've got nothing to do with this anymore. She's just been an anti-Semite, and the real Jewish people won't call anybody an anti-Semite anyway. It's only the Israelis that use that term, but I'm using it as well because, on behalf of the authentic Jewish people whose ancestors were caught up in the Holocaust, created by the false, created by a bunch of bastards, put it that way. So this woman is not saying anything against Israel like she thinks she probably is. No, not at all. What she's doing there, probably without realising it, within her own pig ignorance, it's actually anti-Semitism against the real Jewish people. The real Jewish people that did have people that died in the Holocaust, not the false Jew fucks of Israel, who never had anybody that died in the bloody Holocaust because they weren't in the Holocaust. The Zionists were not victims of the Holocaust. Piss off. And that's in real recorded history, by the way. It says here, under Christianity, Jesus' soul and body are in heaven. Yeah. Under Islam, Jesus' soul and body are in heaven. Yeah. In Judaism, Jesus will spend eternity in boiling semen in hell. No. That's not what Judaism believes. Where did they get that from? Where did the person that wrote this meme actually get that information? They made it up. They made it up. It says here as well, under Judaism, Jesus will not return. It's not true either. Christianity, Jesus came from a virgin birth. Islam, Jesus came from a virgin birth. Judaism, Jesus had a normal birth. That is true because he did have a normal birth, obviously. If if ignorant people people are that stupid and that ignorant that they believe that the Virgin Mary, that Mary was a virgin and all that bollocks. I don't want to get into that because this is not what I'm on here for now in the first place. But I mean, that's entirely up to them. That's entirely up to them if they want to believe that. But no. Obviously, she wasn't a bloody virgin. Joseph, the carpenter, was Jesus' father. Jesus' father, the carpenter, his earthly father, of course. That carpenter was a Palestinian. Mary, Jesus' non-virgin mother, was also a Palestinian. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in a little crib. Bethlehem being a place in Palestine, making Jesus a Palestinian. He was not the king of the Jews. The Jews did not accept Jesus as the Saviour because he was a Palestinian. He wasn't Jewish. They had nothing against Palestinians. The Jewish people, way back in those days, and the Palestinians, and they got on like a house on fire. They got on greatly together. But it's just like it's like anything else. I mean, if there was another saviour came down from heaven and it so happened to be born in England and be English, then I dare say the Scottish people would turn around and say, well, no, we're not accepting that, that's bollocks. Or if it happened to be Scottish, then the English would turn around and say the same thing. Oh, no. He's got to be one of us before we're going to accept him as a saviour. And that's all it was with the Jewish people. Because he wasn't Jewish, if he had been Jewish, they would have accepted him. Whether the Palestinians would have or not is another matter, I don't know. That never happened, so we'll never know that one. But probably if he was Jewish, he would have been accepted. The Roman Catholic Church were the ones that changed the history of what went on at the time, and added a little addition to his tea that he was crucified on. And that's the thing. The chances are he probably wasn't actually crucified with nails like that. The chances are his wrists were tied, not to a cross, a wooden T shape. The Romans didn't make crosses, didn't make crucifixes. They didn't make big giant crucifixes so that people could get, and they didn't nail people to them either. The chances are his wrists would have been tied, bound to the T part of the top of it, of the it's not, wasn't a cross. And as for his feet, I don't know. I don't know what they would have done down there. I don't know. But his wrists were probably bound by some sort of very strong plant, like reeds or something like that. Probably. As opposed to being nails getting used. There's a lot of invention in history, especially around this area of history, by unknown actors. Obviously, these unknown actors were Zionists. They changed a lot of things. There's no way on earth that Theodore Herzl invented the Star of David. Why do you think it's called the Star of David, as in King David, going back a very long time ago? Why do you think that the authentic Jewish people who were trampled upon across Europe in the Holocaust, the people, the authentic Jewish people that lived in Germany for over 600 years quite happily and safely, actually, until Zionism came along? What do you think they were forced to wear? A cartoon version of a yellow Star of David. What do you think that was? Because Theodore Herzl invented the Star of David? Don't talk rubbish. Alex Simeon is an idiot. An ignorant idiot at that. Why do people post such garbage about things? I mean, where did that woman get that information from? I would like to see her source. She doesn't have a source, does she? No. That's complete and utter bollocks, man. Yeah, in a minute, and even before she starts talking about 666, but a minute, anybody mentions that, they're flipped. They're totally flipped. Jesus Christ. So people like her actually believe that there's a little man walking about somewhere with 360s tattooed on his forehead or some bollocks, you know? It's complete and utter bollocks too. And besides, anyway, if she wants to start talking about satanic and all the rest of it, upside down crosses and all that bollocks, which has got nothing whatsoever to do with history. Guess who invented things like that? And it wasn't Theodore Herzl either. Don't be ridiculous. No, Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood. Upside down crosses. Because it looks good in a horror movie. It looks good. And they called it satanic. People picked up on it and people actually believe that bollocks. There are people today around the world that still believe that upside down crosses, oh, upside down crosses, that's satanic. Don't talk rubbish. It was an invention by Hollywood because it looked good in a horror movie. Pentagrams, pentagrams, another invention by Hollywood, dating right away back to one of the very first Hollywood horror movies in black and white, actually, and very close, not long, very closely related to the silent movies, but not a silent movie that far back. Turn of the 20th century, beginning of the 20th century. Yeah, you see, people should actually look more closely at the shite they've got in their heads before they actually state anything on social media. And the best of it is, all the ignorant bastards all round about that stupid woman will believe all her bollocks and believe her stupid, and they're believing her mem. The Jewish people, the authentic Jewish people that got slain across Europe, not just in Germany, by the Zionists, who never had anybody dying in the Holocaust. Not Netanyahu, not anybody. His parents were Polish. They were Zionists. They were not Jews. Never once did they ever proclaim to be Jews because they weren't. His mother was pregnant when she went over there with his daddy. She gave birth. And when he was old enough, he was the very first child to take part, to be a part of the new education system over in Israel, created by London. And it was totally designed in a way, and it's done it with them all. That's why most 9 out of 10 Israelis despise Palestinians and want them all dead. That so-called education system is social engineers them to believe total untruths about the invention of Israel, that it's always been there for thousands of years. No, it hasn't. The Bible, even the Roman Catholic Bible, and I don't know about other holy books, have actually been changed to fit the narrative of the invented Israel being a biblical country thousands of years ago, which it never was. You'll never find it in any old maps anywhere because it never existed until the 1940s. Theodore Herzl did create the flag, more or less, of Israel, of course, but he did not invent a blue Star of David or any other Star of David for that matter. That is fiction in that woman's head. To suggest that a Zionist created a Star of David that the original biblical Jewish people had on their flag. Yes, they had a flag. It was a very simple flag. It was dark brown. And it had a yellow Star of David. The exact same style of Star of David, and there's only one style you can, well, there isn't. Because the Zionists invented a second style, didn't they? And forced the Jewish people of Germany to wear them. Which was like a cartoon version of their original flag. Basically, the Zionists were taking the piss out of the original Jewish people's flag. That's why they made that Star of David like that, forced them all to wear it. The Zionists have a very, very sick sense of humour. in the former term, the former meaning of the word sick, as in bad sick, not good sick, but bad sick, evil sick, wicked sick, the old-fashioned term. The Jewish people, they all knew there was a Messiah going to come along. It was written. It was written everywhere, and Jesus came along, born of his mother and father, Mary and Joseph, whom she was not a virgin. Okay, you can believe that, Tosh, if you want to believe that. It's entirely up to you. Nobody cares what people don't really believe, right? The only thing that people should care about what people believe is people who believe and actually state bollocks. Because there are so many other people that are dumb enough to believe them. So Theodore Herzl, he created a Zionist organisation, the World Zionist Congress, it was called. And it still exists today. It's 127 years old, and it's over there in Israel. Google it. World Zionist Congress. Type that into Google and click search. Be my fucking guest. For all ignorant bastards. So anyway, that's 127 years old. It'll be 128 years at some point next year. And it's like the heart of how Israel came about. It's got everything to do with how Israel actually came about, obviously. Theodore Herzl was an unwell man. And that is recorded in history too, by the way. There weren't any medications around for depression in those days. And he suffered from deep manic depression. And there was nothing that could be done about that. Nobody knew what it was way back in the 1800s and before that, and even so he had to suffer with that. He suffered for that for a long time. He also had a heart condition too, and they didn't quite know what was wrong with his heart, but from time to time he used to lose his breath and get it back again. So he died in 1904 via his heart defect. And yes, he did come up with the idea of a new Jewish homeland. Yeah. But that new Jewish homeland was a new Jewish homeland. It was a Zionist state. He already asked the Jewish people before he died all around the world, would you like to be part of that brand new Jewish state? That's what he called it. He called it a Jewish homeland. And they all said, no, we don't need it. We've got a homeland. Besides, you can't create a new homeland anyway. Your homeland's where your ancestry is. You can't recreate that. It's impossible. So then he asked them if they wanted to be Zionists and join his World Zionist Congress. They all said no. So there wasn't going to be a new Jewish homeland then, because all the Jews said no to it around the world. The biggest population of Jewish people in the world were in Germany. Theodore Herzl did not want to hurt the head of a Palestinian at any time, any point in his life. nor any Jewish people who said no to him. He died in 1904. What he wanted to do was, he already proposed to cease trading with Palestinians so that it would encourage them to move out of Palestine. Thus, the Zionist state could, as they moved out, the Zionist state could move forward and take over the whole country, basically. That was his idea. He didn't have any ideas on how to be able to create such a Zionist state under the term a Jewish homeland, since all the Jews said no. So he died in 1904 anyway. And I've always called his Zionist, World Zionist Congress, it's got a totally different name today. I've always termed that as an asylum, simply because it was born out of his manic depression, the mania of his manic depression that he was suffering from. That's recorded in history. So that's where the idea originated from. Probably if he wasn't suffering from any mental illnesses or anything like that, chances are that nobody, he was the only one that thought of it in the first place. That wouldn't have been thought of, because they'd be too busy having a good life, enjoying life, instead of suffering behind a desk all the time, trying to fill his time up, fill his mind up with other things to take his mind away from his manic depression, which there was no medications for. People used to just go mad in those days and get locked up. And it wasn't anybody's fault that used to happen in those days. They didn't know what else to do. So if he had went mad, he would have been locked up. He was probably fighting all the time, trying not to go mad with his manic depression. So he come up with this brainwave. Yeah, another Jewish homeland, even though they already had one. So after he died in 1904, yeah, the lunatics took over the asylum. The asylum being his World Zionist Congress. That the logo for that, they had a sign for it, and that was the flag you see today, the Israeli flag you see today, without the blue Star of David. Didn't have a blue star. It had the two blue lines, one along the top, one along the bottom, and it had a gold lion in the centre of it. A gold lion. And it had a little gold dot above the lion. And that actually meant something in Zionist terms, and I can't remember what it was, but it's in history anyway. It's noted in history. There was a little dot above that. The little dot meant something, as I say, but I don't know. But so, well before Israel was invented, which it was, by the Zionists, that flag that you see today was created out of his World Zionist Congress symbol that he had for his World Zionist Congress. And they took a line out and they put that blue Star of David in. And that ended up flying at the top of a tower. And there was a photograph on Google image search, and I haven't seen it since. And there was a bunch of Zionists And they weren't dressed like your politicians or anything, wearing fancy suits or anything. They were just ordinary looking people wearing ordinary looking clothes. And this is a black and white photograph. And behind them, and these were Zionists by the way, behind them was a big wooden tower. In the centre of that wooden tower, at the top of it, was a big iron rusty Star of David. On the left hand side of that Star of David, as you look at the photograph, was that flag you see today. On the right hand side of that rusty Star of David, on top of that tower, as you look at the photograph, there was a Union Jack, a butcher's apron, so to speak. And they were all standing there, got the photos taken, black and white photograph. And that was in the late 1800s, the very late 1800s. That's how old that's how long ago that Zionist flag of Israel was made, was created. And way back then, they knew that they were going to create, one way or another, they were going to create that Zionist state. That's how confident they were that they were going to create that Israel. Way back in the late 1800s, that flag already existed and it already flew on the top of a wooden tower in Palestine. Yeah, they were very sure. Zionists are all, that's the thing about Zionists, they're all sure of themselves. They always have been. And that's why they've succeeded around the world the way they have. And everybody just allowed them to do it. But the woman on Facebook, Alex Simeon, that doesn't have a clue what she's talking about, stating that Zionism created the Star of David. Yeah, that's laughable. It's not even laughable, it's just an insult to authentic Jewish people. All the authentic Jewish people, it's made all their videos on it on places like YouTube and all that, you know, telling people that Israel is not Jewish. That Israel has nothing to do with religion whatsoever, nothing to do with the Torah, and neither does Zionism. Zionism has nothing to do with being a Jew either. It's got nothing to do with that. That's why you get people who are Zionists and not Jews. Like Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak, for instance, perfect examples. Yeah, I think he proclaimed to be a Hindu, actually, Sunak. Yeah. A Hindu Zionist, Jesus. Yeah, you got to laugh at these clowns. So anyway, according to this, she is the person that posted this thing here. You won't see it right with this stupid camera, but this one side is just mocking the real Jewish people. It's not mocking Israel. It's mocking the real Jewish people. That's what that's doing. Whoever created it is a real anti-Semite against the real Jewish people, not a fake anti-Semite against Israeli Zionists who only proclaim to be Jewish, and they're definitely 100% not. Yeah. But you'll never get a real Jewish person ever come around and call anybody an anti-Semite. They don't do that. It's another thing about a pig ignorance of the general public around the world. They don't even know that. And you know, for the fact that somebody's coming along and shouting out, well, yeah, you're saying that of me, you're saying that about this, you're an anti-Semite, only because they don't like what you're saying against Israel or whatever. Israel's nothing. They shut you up. They try and shut you up because they don't want everybody to know that their Israel was created by the Zionists. It's worth nothing. It's not biblical. That's very true. It is not. It's got nothing to do with the Bible, and none of the people that lives in there has got any ancestry related to anything in any Bible or any Torah or any Talmud or any Holy Quran for that matter. Not a thing. Palestinians are wrapped up in the Holy Quran, of course, and they're also they're all over the Roman Catholic Bible. Well, they were at one time anyway. The Roman Catholic Bible is not a true holy book. It can never be a true holy book because it's been changed more times by the white people than any book has ever been changed. They always change it to suit a new narrative. They've been doing it for thousands of years, for God's sake, since the Romans invented Roman Catholicism. Yeah. So they created the Roman Catholic Bible. So that wasn't created by God or any bollocks like that. Don't talk shit. None of these holy books were the Jewish, the authentic Jewish people, of course. Everybody knows, right, that people, human beings, have written those books, have compiled those books, but the words in them, Islam believes that a lot of the words are the words of Allah. And who is God? And the Jewish people, the authentic Jewish people, that is, not the false Jews of Israel, the authentic Jewish people also believe that a lot of their Torah is the words of God. And when Jesus was born of a Palestinian parents, being a Palestinian himself, that's why. The only reason probably why the Jewish people did not accept him as a Messiah, because they expected the Messiah to be one of them, Jewish. And as I say, we will never know if he was Jewish. Would the Palestinians have accepted him? They might have done the same thing that the Jews did and said, well, no, he's not Palestinian. No, he's not one of us. We're not accepting that as a Messiah. There's nothing wrong with that. The Jews didn't do anything wrong by not accepting Jesus as the Messiah because he was Palestinian and he wasn't Jewish. Yeah, as I said before, there's a lot of people, I can guarantee you, tons of people would think like that. Oh no, we're not having that. We know it's written here that a Messiah is going to come eventually. But yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that he's not one of us, then he would be the Messiah. But no, we cannot believe that he's the Messiah. Let the rest of the world believe it. We're not believing it because he's not one of us. He's not Jewish. And even the night before last night on Google, there's somebody somewhere on there, Zionist, trying to proclaim that Jesus actually tried to proclaim himself that he was not just the king of the Jews, get this rubbish, but the king of Israel. Yeah, I posted that onto Facebook. Yeah. Imagine the Zionists being that stupid and actually believing that anybody, the future generations will believe it. Because the future generations will be getting brought up with Zionist teachers and all the rest of it, being told that in schools. I can guarantee you that one. And that's why Zionists stated it on the internet, on Google. Google search. That that he proclaimed to be the king, not the king of the Jews, but the king of Israel. So where was Israel in those days? Nobody ever heard of it. Didn't exist. All you had was Palestine. And you never ever proclaimed either to be king of Palestine, did they? Hell, never proclaimed to be king at all. And you never ever proclaimed to be the son of God either. The authentic Jewish people have got him down to a T, and that's all correct. Jesus, the rabbi, that's all it was. And the authentic Jewish people way back in those days, that their Torah was the only education system they had. That was their education system. You learned the Torah. And the best out of the class at the end of school, when you got to the end of your school years, the best of the best in the class would be invited to follow the rabbi who taught them all, and the rest of them would not be invited to follow the rabbi that taught them all. They would have to get jobs like being carpenters and being fishermen and being blacksmiths and stuff like that, and being swordsmiths and all that, They would have to find other jobs. So that's fine. That always worked out well. And the Romans were quite happy with that setup too. Until Jesus came along. Yeah. Yeah, Jesus didn't believe that the best of the class should be the only person to be invited to follow a rabbi. So he ended up teaching people anyway, and what he did was, instead of just inviting the person who was the best in the class, he invited them all to follow him. So they did. They all thought that was a great honour. Jesus was it was a socialist. It was way back in those days. He was revolutionary, and he didn't even know it. He wasn't aware that, oh, look at me, I'm a socialist. You know what I mean? But that was 100% socialism. He really believed that everybody had got goodness in them, and they should all they'll deserve the chance to express the goodness that they can bring to other people. Therefore, instead of just inviting the best of the class to follow him when he was a rabbi, he invited them all. So you're talking about all these people, a shortage of workers ended up happening over there. So you end up with a shortage of fishermen, a shortage of carpenters, a shortage of swordsmiths, a shortage of blacksmiths, and so forth. And it couldn't go on. Because, I mean, the Romans were getting short of blacksmiths to their horses and all that, and people were suffering here and there. Things were suffering. There was a lack of fishermen, so therefore there was a lack of fish getting fished. There was a lack of this, there was a lack of that, because everybody had followed this one rabbi. So eventually he was asked to stop doing it, and he was like, no, because he really believed in what he was doing. That everybody has got as much goodness in them, inside them, as each other, and they should be given a chance to express that and share it with other people. That was Jesus, the rabbi. Not Jesus, the Son of God, not Jesus. He was a son of man, a man, Joseph, and the son of his mother, who was not a bloody virgin. The Romans created the Roman Catholic Church, and when they did that, they were the ones that wrote Mary down as a virgin. It wasn't anybody else. Nobody believed that way back in the days before the Romans created the Roman Catholic Church. Yeah. She wasn't a bloody virgin. And people way back then knew she wasn't a bloody virgin. The three wise men knew she wasn't a bloody virgin. Joseph obviously knew she wasn't a bloody virgin, But the Romans, of course, when they created the Roman Catholic Church, because their empire was dying a death, and they were hoping, they were grasping at straws, when that's the only reason the Roman Catholic Church was ever created. And the Roman Catholic Church is just what's left of a dead Roman Empire. That's all that is. It's nothing. It wasn't created from good people, from holy people. I mean, what is holy anyway? What is meant by holy? About half the people don't even know. Yeah. Unless they Google it or something. So, nobody, no Zionists ever created the Star of David. Besides, anyway, that's a blue Star of David, therefore it's not a Star of David anyway. The Star of David always had to be yellow. I don't know why, I can't remember why. It's recorded in history why. An authentic Jewish person somewhere on YouTube or somewhere will be able to tell you when they're logged in or whatever, if you can get a hold of them, send them a message or something. A Star of David was yellow for a particular good reason. Not blue. Blue is not a Star of David, actually. The blue is what it is Zionist. that flag, that blue and white rag, it's not worth anything to anybody. It's not historical at all in the least, apart from within Zionism, from where it originated from, Theodore Herzl, who didn't want the carnage that's going on today. He never thought of that one. No, he just wanted to discourage the Palestinians from living in their own country, so they would just move away to other countries and go and live somewhere else, basically. But once he died, all the assholes of the day took over. If he had lived and he was still, we'd be dead now, right enough, obviously, but if he'd have lived and never had a heart defect or anything like that, then I'm pretty sure there wouldn't have been a bloody Holocaust either. No. The lunatics that took over the asylum in 1904, they were the ones that plotted and planned all that bullshit so that they could create a Zionist state and call it a Jewish homeland and have the whole world accept it. And that is why the British government, i.e. the Labour Party, 1946 to 1949, sent soldiers over to Palestine to take out the rest of the Jewish families, which the Palestinians defended. And a lot of the Palestinians with a lot of the Jewish families all lost their lives at the hands of the British scum. They were what they were. And they couldn't create that Israel as a state or anything while those Jewish people, Jewish families lived there who said no to Zionism. I mean, the British soldiers that were sent over there did not target the Palestinians. The Palestinians got in the way. That's why they all got their heads kicked in and a lot of them got killed by the British soldiers and everything else. If they hadn't have defended the Jewish people, they wouldn't have been touched actually at that particular point in history. The only reason they were touched is because they defended the Jewish families that were being targeted by the British soldiers at the time. And the ones that survived and remained there, ones that didn't escape, some did. Same with Palestinians, a lot of Palestinians managed to escape, and a lot of them died. A lot of the Jewish people died at the hands of the British. The ones that survived of the Jewish families were transported across the water to Cyprus. 3 concentration camps, British ones at that. And they remained there for 2 years until 1948. That's when the Zionist state was opened officially. And they brought over the survivors of those British concentration camps in Cyprus. They brought what was left of those families into the Zionist state that they all said no to. They said, no, we don't want to live there. So then they don't have to live there. So that the people that created the Zionist state could proclaim to the world, this is a new Jewish homeland, and the world would accept it. And that's exactly what happened. The world did accept it. Because they had no other choice. They stuck real Jewish people in there. And that was the very first. And that's why they did that. They went to all that bother just so that they could create a Zionist state and have the world believe that it's a Jewish state. It's never been. Any authentic Jewish person anywhere on the internet will tell you the same thing. Whether it be on people that's made videos on YouTube or anything else, actually message them. Leave them a message. Don't just watch their videos. Leave them a message and actually converse with them, like normal people do. Might take them a while before they, before they notice your message or whatever. Because not everybody's got all the social media up and running all at the same time on their phones, So, but it would be good. But people don't. You see, that's the thing. People don't like to learn things. They just pick up things. They pick up the bullshit. They pick up the what do you call it? Yeah, the froth off the top, and it's all bollocks. Yeah, I would say scum. The scum off the top, the scum off the top, the rubbish, basically, the falsehoods and the lies and everything else, the conspiracy theories and all that. Instead of seeing any truth in anything, anywhere. People got a bad habit of that. That's where that came from. That stupid woman trying to say that Theodore Herzl invented the Star of David. No. The blue one is not a Star of David because it's blue. As I say, it was a Star of David when it was yellow, and the real original flag, the only Jewish flag that ever existed, and that was the yellow star that they stuck on them, on the Jewish people. That was a cartoon version of the Star of David. The yellow Star of David is the exact same as the blue Star of David. The only difference is it's yellow. It's meant to be yellow. You can't have a Star of David that is blue. But your Star of David must be yellow. Yep. And that was right away back in history. Thousands of years. Not created by Theodore bloody Herzl, a Zionist. No. Anyway, I am out of here.